Hey everyone, so today I wanted to have a look at traffic metrics and how to find out how much traffic competitor websites have. Now the reason you would want to do this is because it's often good when doing niche research to try to find several different niche sites in a niche that are getting significant amounts of traffic. And that means there's a big pie and you can take a little slice of that pie and get good amounts of traffic. Another thing that I like to look for is a competitor who has a lot of traffic but very low domain authority or domain rating if you're using aHrefs, and that'll show you that this website or this niche is easy to get into and get a lot of traffic with a low authority site. So I'll show you how I do that later on. But first, I'm going to compare my websites and their actual traffic metrics to the traffic metrics that are a guess from aHrefs, SEM Rush, and SimilarWeb. So let's get started with that. So the first one is SimilarWeb. I've got the traffic metrics for my site from Ezoic at the bottom. I've used Ezoic and Google Analytics for different sites. The site that is on Ezoic, I'm using the Ezoic metrics because I can't be sure about this, but I think the Ezoic metrics are a little bit more accurate than the Google Analytics metrics. I'm not 100% sure about this, but it seems to me as if Ezoic is a little bit better at filtering out some bots that come to your site and that look like traffic but actually aren't really traffic. But that's debatable and it doesn't really matter, they're pretty close. So this is for the first site that I own. So last month got 287,000 website visitors, and according to SimilarWeb, which is a free Chrome plugin, they said that I'm getting 147,000 monthly visits. So they're over 100,000 visits off, which is pretty bad, of course. But as you'll see, it's a lot better than some others. Okay, so this is the second site that I'm looking at. So the second site in my portfolio, it got 40,000 page views last month, according to Google Analytics, and SimilarWeb says that it doesn't have enough data to tell me how much traffic is coming to this website. So this is one big weakness of SimilarWeb as a tool to try to find out traffic. Unless they're getting a significant amount of traffic, a lot of websites, SimilarWeb will just say, I'm sorry, we don't have enough data about it. So that's one of the sort of negatives about SimilarWeb. So let's move on to SEM Rush. SEM Rush says that my site is getting around about 280,000 visitors, only gets 110,000. So they even further underestimated the traffic. If we move over to my site that's getting 40,000 page views, they guess I was getting 16,000. So again, like SimilarWeb, SEM Rush has also underestimated the amount of traffic my websites get, and by a significant amount. If I was looking at competitors, I would be being significantly misled by these tools. The third one is aHrefs. So on aHrefs, it says that I'm getting 27,000 visitors a month. 39,000 visitors a month. In that organic traffic metric, and instead I'm getting 287,000. Now most of my metrics, traffic, like 99% is through organic traffic, so aHrefs should be a little bit closer here, and they are way off the mark. If we look at my second site, it's getting 40,000 page views a month. aHrefs thinks it's getting 11,000 organic traffic. In reality, it's probably getting somewhere closer to 40,000 organic traffic because that's my main traffic source. Ubersuggest is the last one. So for my first site, it's guessed that I had 87,000 traffic. So it's 200,000 below. And for the second site, it's guessed that I had 15,000 traffic. So again, less than half of 16,000. So less than half of what the site is actually getting. If I just jump back up, you can see here that Ubersuggest did slightly get that I had a bit of a summertime dip, but I mean, my summertime dip started around June, and it thought June I was getting tons of traffic, so it was pretty inaccurate. So here's a comparison chart. You can see there that it's all filled out now, and if I just jump to the next page, it'll tell me which ones were the most accurate. So for site 1, my larger site, SimilarWeb was closest, but still over 100,000 off. And for site 2, I was really surprised to see that Ubersuggest was closest. Ubersuggest is one tool that I don't actually trust all that much, so I was really surprised to see that. Okay, so what I can deduce from this is A, those tools are really inaccurate and they usually underestimate things. B, if I can extrapolate from that, their keyword tools are probably just as inaccurate. Their keyword tools are probably underestimating the amount of searches per month for each of the keywords. So maybe some people are going to be saying, well, I should be targeting 0, 10, 20 search volume a month articles because they're probably getting a lot more search volume than my traffic metric tool is telling me. That's a fair claim. What I want to move on to now is some tricks that you can use that give you a better idea of how much traffic a website is getting. And this trick is to have a look at the ad provider that the website is using on their website. So underneath Mediavine ads, you'll usually see this Mediavine sign. Now that Mediavine sign is showing that this website has at least got 25,000 visitors, or 50,000 if they've only signed up in 2020 when they increased the amount of visitors they needed to get into Mediavine. Now, there's one caveat to that, which is if in the olden days, someone got their first website onto Mediavine with 25,000 visitors and then managed to sneak their second website in with only 5,000 visitors, you may be a little bit misled. But usually you can tell that a website on Mediavine is getting 25,000 visitors at least, maybe 50,000, because it's a well-built out site that is pretty old. You can tell it's pretty old because they've got content from a few years ago. So you're saying, yeah, this is probably their main Mediavine site that they got into Mediavine on, and it's probably got at least 25,000 traffic. Now, the next one is aHrefs. Now, aHrefs has, usually in the footer of their website, says an elite cafe media publisher. There are some variations of that. So they've got lifestyle publisher. I think they also do an elite cafe media food publisher as well. Now, this text at the bottom of the website in the footer gives us an idea that this website is probably got over 100,000 visitors a month, because that's the cutoff to get into aHrefs. Now, we do have that caveat again that oftentimes someone will get their website into aHrefs and then they'll get all of their little starter websites into aHrefs as well, because once you're in, you can add some other websites. However, as I said with Mediavine, make sure you do your due diligence, see whether or not it's a really established website, and then if it's a really established website, it's probably a good chance that that's the website that the person used to get into aHrefs, so it's got over 100,000 visitors a month. The third major ad provider is, of course, Zoic. Now, Zoic usually has at least 10,000 visits a month to get in, but they're significantly decreasing that at the moment, and I'm sure at some point in the future, anyone's going to be able to get into Zoic. Having said that, Tyler Bishop from Zoic has recently said that more people on Zoic have over 100,000 visitors than all of the amount of people on aHrefs combined. So Zoic doesn't necessarily mean it's low traffic. Some people have huge amounts of traffic but are still on Zoic, maybe because aHrefs didn't accept them, or maybe they just prefer Zoic as a provider. Now that Zoic has the premium, it goes up to 7 Diamond Premium, you can actually get really, really good RPMs through Zoic. So a quick tip at the end here: if you found a website with high traffic because it's with aHrefs or with Mediavine, and you use the Mozbar Chrome extension, which is free, to see that it's got very low domain authority, then you've struck gold. So for example, I found a website the other day that is on aHrefs, seemed like an established website, so it's probably that person's main website that had an aHrefs with over 100,000 visitors, and the domain authority was just 17. Now, to have a domain authority of just 17, they've either tricked the Moz crawlers, or they've got really, really, really few incoming links to their website. What that tells me is that you can get into that niche, maybe reverse engineer that person's keywords, start trying to write better content than them, and with quite a weak site, you've got a chance of competing against them for some really high traffic keywords. So something to look out for is always keep that DA thing on at the top and see when your competitors have got a good premium ad network like Mediavine or aHrefs but have really low DA. Now, since getting aHrefs, I have realized that the domain authority metric is not as accurate as I once hoped it was. aHrefs finds a lot more inbound links than the Moz crawler does. So if you've got aHrefs, I would probably stick with the aHrefs Chrome plugin, which is a premium plugin for people who have aHrefs, and not the Moz DA one, because aHrefs crawlers are just significantly better in my experience. So to wrap it all up, looking for your competitors' traffic is a really good way to find out whether or not there are a lot of people searching for these terms in the niche. It's also a good way to find weak niches with a lot of traffic coming to them. If you find one of those websites that have got low DA but really high amounts of traffic, it's a really good thing because you can probably jump into that niche and compete from really early on when your site's quite young and doesn't have many inbound links to it yet. If you've got any other nuggets of information on how to find a competitor's traffic or how to use that competitor's traffic to your advantage, let us know in the discussion below. That would help me learn some new things, and I'm sure other people watching this video would love to scroll through the chat and find out some great new golden bits of information that they can use as well for their sites. One thing that I did pick up from this little tiny case study is it seems like most of the tools underestimate traffic, which is a good indication that you can target lower traffic keywords and still probably pick up a fair bit of traffic. Do you agree with that, or do you think maybe I'm a little bit misled? I'd like to hear from you anyway in the discussion, and I'll see you in the next video.